You saw. Read it.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 1st Madrid Township meeting. Would everyone join me in rise to the pledge of the flag of our country? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Corey, you have the minutes from the November 17th meeting.
I'll make a motion, we suspend the reading of the minutes and put it in the screen. Second.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Pettit. Mr. McClure.
Yes. We'll move right into department reports. Madrid Township Fire and EMS Chief John.
Me? Total incidents, as of today, 1,895. We're still on pace for roughly 2,000. Obviously, depending on what happens tonight, we might crash that real quick, real fast. Average call per day is still about 5.7 calls per day. Mutual aid received for us is 2. Mutual aid given is 5 out to the other townships and the cities. The only reason we had the 2 is due to the fact of the medic being down. So 2 out of almost a week of that thing being down is pretty good, honestly. Obviously, medic 150 still's out for repair. I did not get an update today. I was with the holiday. I figured there really wasn't going to be much movement until probably tomorrow. He's hoping for sometime this week to be back, but I haven't heard anything. I know they sent it out to have the rear end looked at by a specialist to make sure that everything is kosher before we put it all back together. The Santa Parade details will be out in the next few days. We'll post those on our social media page and website. We were still just trying to finalize our night when we have people to do that, because that is a non-paid detail. That is people that come in and do that at the volunteers, so they're not paid for that. Obviously, in the last couple of weeks, it's gotten really cold. It sounds like it's going to continue. So we just ask that residents check that they have a working carbon monoxide detector in their home, and especially homes that use some type of fuel burning appliance. That'd be their water heater or their furnace or anything that's fuel burning can produce carbon monoxide, which is a silent and deadly killer. So we ask that people check that, especially with now getting into snow months. Your flue pipes can get clogged from snow and ice, and you can't have CO back into your home. So other than that, that's all I have for you guys. Do you have anything for me?
Anything for John?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Road and cemetery, Don and Connor.
Good evening. We got the wet death coming tonight, so we got all the trucks ready, loaded, serviced, so they're ready to go. We plan on coming in about 5 o'clock. So we'll get on it then. It's supposed to be over by about 5 or 6 in the morning, so we'll get out and get on it. Our loader telehandler has arrived, so we've got that to load trucks with. We sent a couple trucks out today to pre-treat some of our hills and pretty bad curves. Try to get some stuff down on those, help us out quite a bit. And still had a lot of the intersections and stuff pre-treated from yesterday. We're supposed to have possible some refreeze, so guys went out and treated the main intersections and stuff, and it was still hanging in there today, so we're pretty good there. We've got 160 ton of salt coming tomorrow, hopefully. I mean, we've got probably about 150 on hand, so we should be okay. And that's really it from the road. And then the cemetery, we're just in winter operations. We stop by every day, check the buildings, check on equipment, make sure the furnace is working in the office, take a head count, and we're good to go. That's it.
Did you get that old building taken down yet?
Oh, yeah. Sure, we get all the animals somewhere to live for the winter.
That's true. Anything else for Don? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Our Township Deputy, Brandon Holt.
Evening, everyone. Since last meeting was out on the 3rd to today's date, 29 calls for service, 7 arrests. The arrests are up compared to last one. 19 traffic stops, 12 assists, 40 business checks, 60 citizen contacts, and a little over 1,400 miles driven, and then 2 crashes. Only other couple notes I have, I spoke to Trustee Young about one I had on Wednesday. There was a fraud in progress at the bank there on Marion Drive at Park National. Subject was arrested and booked on 3 felony charges for trying to pass a fraudulent check that was initially made out to a vendor in the Dayton area that was from Young's. So glad I was able to catch that gentleman in the act. Other than that, obviously, I know everyone's seen the news about the big incident yesterday down at Sportsplex. Clark County has very little involvement in reference to that incident. That investigation is still ongoing. So if I'm asked out in public, which I was today, I can't really provide any details on that because it's still a pending investigation, especially with Greene County having BCI involved. I don't want to contaminate their investigation by any means. And other than that, that's really all I have.
Anything for Brandon? Thank you. Anything from Houston?
Yeah, on Houston, Medic One, they had to put a new alarm on Medic One that was no longer working. Medic Two, he's getting an estimate to fix the auto step. It hadn't worked for a while. The actuator's bad, and so he'll have that for us next joint meeting. Place the mechanism, the actuator, and maybe even the step, so. And he just said, they emailed out the December schedule and it's pretty much 98% full, so. That's all he had.
Okay, thank you. Fiscal Officer Dave Reed.
Just have some checks for you guys to sign off on, and then the most recent credit card statement for trustee. Clear to read.
That will move right into old business.
Did they get all the manholes in?
The manholes are complete.
Manholes in Holiday Valley are done.
Good.
So it's complete, totally done.
Yeah, we're kind of waiting on finalizing some paperwork and closing out. I have not anything on Hunters Creek Drive lights. See any progress on that? I haven't heard anything.
See,
Supposed to be in the works here. Last time we talked a little bit about the Echo Hills swim sewer. I got some plans together on that. Come to find out the large pipe size is maybe just what Ari Holland had on his yard there and doesn't need to be as large. So maybe here with come next year, we'll start getting rolling on maybe getting some prices on pipe and some things like that and come up with a little game plan. Because I think you had mentioned before is 30 or 36 inch on the lower end down there by Mr. Cherry's front yard or something.
Yeah, it's 30, and then where it comes across the Echo Hills Drive, it's 30. Then when it goes into that big box, it's 42 over to the one at the corner of the yard. And I have no idea where it curves at in there somewhere.
Yeah.
There's got to be a buried manhole or something.
Where that clump of trees.
It's got to be in there. So
So I've got the whole section 1 plans and section 5 plans out from my office, and we'll get a plan together, maybe we can kind of Band-Aid it for a little while and do it when it dries up a little bit in the summer. since we have to go back to yards and
Yeah. Maybe that's the auction, it's probably all.
it'd be all right for a while.
Yeah, cause we put D-rock down in the first, so that should lock it up. Which further lock it up.
Yeah.
So it should be okay.
Did you guys fence it off?
It was, and then he came out and took it down. The home.
They're keeping one, they said, I told them as soon as it started to change or disappear, let us know. So,
I'm sure they will now that they're aware of it.
Yeah. Metronet and AT&T are still making a mess of our roadsides. Any updates on any of that? Any issues with any of that I need to pass along?
Since they got them.
Not that last one.
You just had them in here.
Oh,
Check
right,
utilities.
they're working out
Yeah,
here.
they want to identify our sewer line, make sure they don't hit anything. So they're probably gonna put a camera down through our clean out to make sure that they don't get near it, so.
And I haven't had any complaints since they finished their work in Holiday Valley, so we'll see once they start going back into the.
One thing is you're going around, you go through their works and make sure they got their advanced signage and stuff out there, because I've been through there a couple times where they pull right off and don't, right on Stein Road by Needle Rise, and it's half in the road. I mean, I know they gotta do that to get the signs out, but
And I know you touched on streetlights. Is there any way you can check with Ohio West and see what the status is of the 20+ complaints I submitted, because they have not touched them yet. And it's
Okay.
been
at least a month.
at least a month.
yeah, we'll do that. Thanks for the reminder.
So we talked with those guys about not blocking our drive, so they said that they should be fine. Only issue is they might have to pop a hole in the concrete, so I told them that they're gonna do that immediately before they did it.
Any other old business? We'll move right into new business.
Think of, when you mentioned that meeting.
December 3rd, was it 2 PM? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Having a Clark County Planning Commission will meet, and on the agenda is the Hillside Creek submittal, the resubmittal. I'm hoping we have good attendance there, good representation. So I'm going to be present at the meeting. And I circulated a letter with you guys. I don't know if you had a chance to look at that.
I do.
Are you going as a township member
I
or
will
a
be,
community member? Like what's your capacity when you,
It'll be a township.
I'll be a township trustee present at the meeting.
Okay.
That's all I have on that. Any other new business?
I'm gonna do these.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a motion for that. We've been looking at this forever, and I think we've decided which one we want. I will make a motion that we go ahead and buy that skid steer broom for the Kubota, not to exceed $7,000. Sorry, it shouldn't be. I know.
Yeah, it says that.
That's their quote, yeah, you're right.
Mr. Young.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yes. Is there any other new business? We'll move into the public comment.
I don't have anything.
Anything, Tom? Okay, we'll move right into public comment. Bob Carpenter.
I want to thank you for the invitation to come down here tonight and talk about things prior to that December 3rd meeting. There's still a lot of interest up there. We don't have as many people down here as we had before, but got several folks that are out for medical reasons, one not. Flu season is alive and well up there. So, I've been fortunate enough to be able to make it. We have been going back and forth on this since about June of. And I've spent some time thinking about what's going on here, because we've gone around and around and around and around on issues with the county. And they always try to fix it. And looking back, I think the issue is that what they're not doing or don't want to do or can't do is basically failure analysis. So, they've got a design, the design is adequate for the normal run-of-the-mill things. But it's incapable of dealing with faults. So for instance, they put in a sewer lift station, okay, but they provide no emergency power. So,
I'll just kind of make a comment
Yeah.
real quick for you. One thing you may one thing they take into consideration, there is one down right along Mud Run for Hot Meadows. It's been there for, 30 years, 40 years.
Several of them around.
yeah, I know there's,
It's right on, it's right up against Mud Run. I'm talking a little further than me to your way. And so it's been there that long and they don't have any issues. The force main will, even if the power goes out, it won't leak right off the gate.
my understanding is that they're open.
Well-
That the design, I looked at the company website with people providing that up there.
You figure if it's a force main, they're under pressure, they have to be pressurized. So it
Yeah,
can't,
the force main has to be,
Yeah.
but the well doesn't have to be. On the other side of the pump, on the intake side of the pump, it's not.
all the
it's not
time.
sealed.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So you lose power. I calculated about a 1 to 2 hour volume of that thing to hold surge. So that's saying that, if you follow Ohio regulation, somebody's got to have an emergency plan to get out there and do something about that. And I don't know that exists.
Well, I'm sure they're modeling the one after it.
So,
There's a better, I'm sure, I don't know.
There's nothing particularly complicated about this. You put an emergency generator in it. You don't need to do that. Provide additional storage. Make sure your drainage doesn't go into the pond next to it. But if you say, what if this happens? What if we get 2 rainstorms, one on top of the other? We have a summer like we had last summer where all over the United States, there were massive floods that weren't planned for. All of a sudden you have a giant mess on your hand that could be easily prevented if you insisted that the developer take care of it. Then I look at who's going to pay for all of that if it happens. The county is. So you end up just taking on a risk that you don't need to. And that to me doesn't make a lot of sense.
That'd be a good
And
question.
I think that's the sort of message I want to try to deliver December 3rd. Go back, do a failure analysis, ask yourself what happens. So you take the force main going up there to the top of the hill where I live, it dumps into a manhole that goes into our gravity-fed sewer. Okay, it's got all kinds of pressure sensors and level sensors on there. They've done what they know they need to do in order to make the thing work. But then you air gap it and you put it into a sewer system that occasionally has its moments anyway. And I say, what if the far end of the sewer system stops out? Pump is never going to know it. It's just, I don't pump and sewage right up into a blocked sewer system.
Yeah, I don't know if they have
That could be easily fixed.
Does the county have a sensor for that? Do you know?
Chuck Bowers reviewed the plans.
Yeah.
It's to the best of my knowledge.
That's above my pay grade.
Yeah, me too. The point is that, that I'd like to see us have something that lays these things out and deals with them, and I can't get it. Yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable, and it certainly is going to cause a lot of trouble. It's going to make the news if you have a big mess out here. It's going to make the people who've been flooded before flood again, maybe worse than before. They're certainly not going to be happy. I know you guys have heard from them. You know who I'm talking You know, and I don't blame them. I'd be unhappy too. So that's the basis for opposing it. It's not saying, just get it right is what it's saying.
Mhm. And those are good comments for this meeting because it's, your comments are aligned with several others' ideas also about, I mean, why can't the developer put a backup system in that would take care of that and the base flow stormwater
He
pump?
can, he doesn't spend money.
He can if the county makes them.
Yeah. But, you know, and I understand this, if his attitude is it's the county's problem, which translates, county, you tell me what I need to do. Okay. Then let's figure it out from A to Z. Let's do a failure analysis. Let's look at the off situations where you can get into trouble and stop it before it starts. Then we avoid the news, we avoid the expense, we avoid the unhappy people, we avoid the repair costs. Seems like a reasonable thing to do. So tonight, that's what I wanted to come down. Yeah, we've done, you know, we're still going around. We've got a couple of engineers that are looking at things, and to a large extent, it hasn't changed enough to make a bit of difference. Adding one pump to carry some water up into the sewer system at our place isn't gonna do much of anything. And begs the issue that the county just told Joe Lewis that he couldn't build out there without putting in another stormwater system because this one is 100% capacity.
That's actually not correct.
Is that not
We're in a different watershed now. You know, now we're at the grade break in the back, so it actually goes west. So the new pond, because of the way the waters flow. So, you know, the pond out there on Paul Gross's property, I was always told it was actually built large enough to handle when that gets developed over there
Okay,
on the other side of Bluff Boulevard.
as long as it is, yeah.
And that's but you know, the one thing we ran into there, that thing's been there for 20 years or something now. There's I don't know if you've ever been out to look at that
Yeah.
pond. There's that concrete trough that goes all the way across. Water runs 24/7. Even we went out there this past summer when it was dry.
So it's serving as a field drain along with everything else.
Well, it's
Somewhere.
doing something. But you know, like there's several, like in the Bluffs development, you see the houses that are built at grade and the ones that are built above. And I've been up there, you know, when some of those were built, and some hole in the basement, some dry, some have water coming in all the time. So then you've got that circulating out in the storm sewer and running across there. That's kind of what the counties, they learn the hard way. You know, if you have a pond that's wet all the time, think about Mr. Stratton spoke at the meeting here before, you know, if we've got water rolling out of this pond on Union Road and goes right out the ditch and out in his crop field, you know, he's not going to be happy.
Yeah.
So it's really just that pump mechanism just kind of take care of that. They call it base flow or whatnot. But Lewis is not, it was always planned the next phase would have another pond.
Oh, really? Okay. See.
And it's unfortunate because he has to have a good outlet too.
He does, yeah.
So they had pushed him to make a rock chute all the way down to the township property and into Mud Run. It got pretty costly. I think that's what squashed that phase. So, I mean, there's some things there's just some good things. I mean, this pond, you know, there's all this water runoff that comes off this site.
Yeah.
This pond will throttle it back. But I mean, it still has those mechanical devices, and we're submitting a letter that voicing the same concerns. You know, any mechanical device is going to fail at some point.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And
that's,
if it doesn't, wonder. Right.
and the power issue. It's definitely a concern.
Well, you know the power's gonna go out sooner or later. It just does. And I certainly would not want to have a house up there, you know, in that new development, only to discover that if the lights go out, my sewer backs up.
Right.
I would not be happy with that. And then since that manhole that they're talking about dumping that horse pipe into, it was about 20 feet from the edge of my property and higher than my house.
Yeah.
Got a little concerned about that.
Sure.
also.
Sure.
So, you know, I think it's doable if they to adjust, do a failure analysis. Thanks for inviting me down, guys. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Next, we have Will Clemens.
Yeah, so I'm in agreement with Bob. I'm probably a little bit more radical though. I just don't see how this is going to be good for people. This development, I'm thinking it's what, 70 homes? High density 70?
38.
Oh, 38?
Yeah.
Okay, so so 38 would be what, 70 new cars? Plus trucks and things like that during construction. And so I grew up off Armstrong Road in Bath Township in Greene County. So pretty much 71 to 99. And I lived in Cincinnati for a while and I moved back here, taught at Wittenberg and at Clark State. And so I know that area really well. And it's just got busier and busier on West Dean, or on Xenia Pike to West Dean. And I just don't see how you're gonna accommodate that many more cars. Especially on that S curve and, going down into that township and into Greene County. So many people go that way now to Kroger and M.R.T and all of that. And it's narrow. It's a narrow road. And when somebody's coming the other way these days, I have to grip with two hands the wheel because it's a narrow road. And I just don't see how that many more cars, especially on that S curve, and coming up over the S curve. I know the speed limit was recently reduced a little bit along there. So that is probably an acknowledgement that more cars are coming that way. And there are bikes and, bicyclers and things like that. So I hear the water issues for sure. Because for the first time since I've moved in at my house, which I have built in 2020 and 2021, I have a stink in my house. And I'm trying to get that pinpointed. But some people have suggested that it might have to do with the water pressure. It might have to do with the removal of those 500 old growth trees. I've heard other people complain about a stink in their homes with the water. I'll leave the water to people who know better than I, as you were saying, beyond the pay grade. It's way beyond my pay grade. I'm a specialist in American literature and American history and not in engineering. But speaking of those kinds of things, the history, I know the history of Fairborn well, and it just seems to me that it's going to be as big a deal traffic-wise as it is water-wise. Those things are both unknowns, but it just seems like I've seen the traffic increase about fourfold from when I was a boy, and we really haven't seen the road widened any there, and now we're talking about adding maybe 70 more cars. Anyway, I'm just kind of worried about it, and I'm worried about high density homes and what kinds of folks are coming in with those. Given yesterday's situation on Dayton Springfield, are we inviting more things like that into the area with lower income housing that we just want to push through? I probably said too much, but maybe I was too radical. But anyhow, thanks for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Along those lines, one thing that I didn't talk about, maybe you will know more about than I do. I was looking through the covenants for that development, and I could not find anywhere any suggestion of a minimal standard for housing construction up there. Now, there was the bluffs, but there, as far as I can tell, there is not in this new development.
I have not been through all of it. She just sent it out.
There's 54 pages.
I know. I've never seen anything like it for
That's
some.
pretty impressive. I'm
That's-
impressed.
No, I'll
But
scan
look
through it.
there and see if I'm right. because as far as I can tell, there were no standards for minimal housing construction. The other thing that I noticed is if you put two or three pieces together, it's not clear who's gonna manage that HOA until some unspecified point in time when they turn it over to the homeowner.
Yeah, that's a concern too with regard to the HOA. Is there a percentage of homes that can be rented, in an HOA, like that? And, so how many of those are gonna be rental? How many are gonna be bought up by, private equity in order to rent? We don't know those things.
Sure.
I mean, I guess though, the county doesn't really care about those things. It's like with the water and the traffic, we see what happens and correct when we need to later.
Those are good points to bring up if you can attend the meeting on the 3rd. I mean, I was always in the understanding when, originally in 2005, when they rezoned the property, when it was only like 14, Lewis's were gonna put apartments up there. I mean, that's basically what we were being told. You see it, they've got the little townhouse apartments down there by where Domino's used to be.
Yeah.
Across from the funeral home, they were gonna put things like that in there. You had an option and then extinguished the option. Mr. On bought the property and then bought Hillgrove, bought Treadway's property, but that's a common practice when you have the old landowner apply for rezoning. Everybody knew that it was Demi Construction in Lewis.
It's not zoned now for apartments.
No, that's what I believe they had. That was my assumption that was the vision there
This was the vision.
20 years ago. Just think about it. I mean, they spent a lot of money to get your subdivision to the point where you can have your first 25 houses there. They brought utilities from Holly Valley.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of expense. They cut Enon Xenia Road down. There was a site distance issue right there, a little bit north of Gerald's driveway. We actually closed Enon Road and Demi Construction took a hill down so you could see both ways. So you talk about the traffic issue. Those were things the county made them do to have Bluff Boulevard. And then bring all that.
Putting that 40-mile-an-hour speed limit there was wonderful.
Mhm.
Because prior to that, with the speeds that were coming up there, just enough with the dip up there would be a car in that dip. Probably 20% of the time you tried to leave, whether you're going right or left, and you would get a surprise. You
Sure.
turn right and then you just kind of be on your bumper. And that is all gone away now with that lower speed limit up there. You could pull up, look both directions, look again, and then downhill and turn and you'll know what's going on behind you before you turn.
Yeah, but, 70 cars can expect that.
Well, yeah, it's pretty good work.
Well,
And we don't do night walks and we do, it's actually a very nice community
Sure.
for us. People are out walking dogs, kids visiting, and all summer long we've been doing that. The increased traffic is an issue there. But it's also progress, I guess.
It is. I mean, that's the thing, that 2005 submittal had 100 more lots behind all of you too. So.
Well, I was thinking, is there any talk, or has there ever been any talk about running the one road from the new development down the hill to Dayton Springfield, or to one of these subdivisions over here on Dayton Springfield, instead of having everybody come out onto Enon Xenia Pike at Esther or thereabout?
I don't think you guys would want that, if I'm being honest with you. I'm just telling you right now, you don't want that.
Well, if you don't want that, why would you want them coming out on Enon?
It's not our traffic down there, it's coming the other way.
The problem is you're at 675 and 70. They can get on the highway and be gone. But if you allow that not to be there, they're not going to come far enough down. That's how that works.
Right. Right, so yeah, so.
That's why Holiday Valley has a lot of problems, because they can get in and get back to the highway and be gone.
Yeah.
So they can get there.
Yeah, and that's your all's concern, but our concern is similar. We don't want
sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate the chance to come down here and have a two-way conversation with folks. Because if you sit up there and just send emails and letters up to the county, it feels pretty one way. And folks will every once in a while, you know, and the county's been good about coming back and dealing with water issues and things like that. And the county engineers have been back coming out, talking to us, but trying to do things. But this is a good conversation. I appreciate that.
Well, and I will let you know, like, every letter, email, or anything sent, Stephanie Dunlap has circulated out to everyone, and we're including the developer. I mean,
Stephanie is really, really.
I mean,
good.
she's been, and like Mrs. Culbertson sent an excellent letter today
Mhm.
that we all saw towards the end of the day, and you know, touched on the fact that, you know, everybody knows it's a development that was planned to grow, but more of that consistency. And, you know, let's not, I don't know if you've ever been over to East Side Walmart, saw the Bridgewater development.
No.
These little box houses that Ryan Holmes built. I mean, it's really just, we don't want to see that. I mean, that you can go like this in between them and touch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, could we get something, go out to Melody? What's that?
Isn't that what this is?
No.
You're trying to touch it?
No, it's not. Because that's more like what Stein Road was, like the 1/8 acre.
Same thing. 80/20 is what unit one is. They don't want that, and that's what they're putting.
Well, it was a tighter density.
Yeah, just started building tighter line.
No, I'm saying it was 1/8 of an acre. So these are quarter acre lots. These are a little larger. But, you know, I encourage you to go out to Melody, the old Melody Drive-In.
Yeah.
That's the same size as these lots, and look at what they're doing out there. I think that's Boer or Old Dominion Homes or something that's doing that out there. A little bit more of a custom style, little variation. I mean, I don't know if this is, you know, something these guys are thinking up here, but yeah.
The cynic in the crowd says, yeah, we've been told that. I mean, you have been telling us that. It's like something.
Well, that's what he told me. It's gonna be custom homes.
Yeah.
But
But then you look at the company, and there's nothing about.
Yeah, it's gotta be there. Right.
So, I mean, that's an empty promise at that point. You know, we know how those work out.
When they ran in that at Echo Hills, you know, like that section 5, Holland Construction went bankrupt, liquidated the whole side of the thing. And it used to be, your outbuildings had to match your main structure and all that. And then you go in that section 5 and it kind of veered off, and you start seeing less brick, more vinyl, and some things like that. Because, you know, who upholds those covenants? You know, it's not the township.
I know, it's the developer.
Well,
If he's there.
and then what, you put a committee together in your development typically, like so, I mean, those
Well,
are,
we see a little of that up there, even in the bluffs, with Sand died.
Yeah.
You know, it loosened up. And, we still basically have the environment that Sam set forth. He used to sit up there in his car and wait for people. I'd come find him, and we get him to come down to the house, sit and visit. And I heard a lot of good stories out of Sam about growing up and the things he did. You know, but the guy loved the trees. He cried every time somebody cut a tree down over there. So with a lot of the trees we have in our backyards, like, Sam, we're not gonna cut that tree down. We sit out and drink a cup of coffee on a nice summer day and visit for a little bit. So he had his heart in that, as well as his pocketbook.
he had been telling people for years he would build up there one day, and he did. Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
So, you know, and yeah, you know, they were planning an extensive thing back behind a lot of houses back behind those. You know, he sort of said, well, okay, if you keep building like you're doing this, we'll be glad to have. But manage traffic and everything, you know. You had a nice big wide lane going in there on Bluff to carry a reasonable amount of traffic. You figure, gotta do something to make it bigger, we can get out of time. I didn't feel bad about buying that house up there then. Feel less good about what's going on now.
Sure.
Since I woke up one morning I stumbled to the sound of chainsaws and the notification that this was happening.
Well, we'll see you at the meeting on
We'll
Wednesday.
be there.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, if we did, we'll float it. I told everybody up there was, these guys came out of town because there's no lights on. But I read the sign down there, oh, no.
Is there anything else that anybody'd like to talk about before we adjourn this meeting? Have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's better.
Yes. Meeting adjourned, 8:13.
I meant to ask.